Okay, guys, it's been a struggle today. It's been a struggle. The hair has been a struggle. The makeup has been a struggle. The life has been a struggle. So let's get this bread. Hello and welcome to the Shot Circus. My name is Emma. This is my show. It's about basketball. Today's episode is a recap of the week in basketball, and there's a lot of games to cover and not a lot of time. So let's just get into it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get started. Let's start with Monday because I didn't watch anything on Sunday because I was too busy doing Halloween stuff. But that was the Nuggets at the Grizzlies, and I'm going to talk about both games, the one that took place on Monday and Wednesday, kind of together. And also, I'm going to be doing a more in-depth look at the Grizzlies as a whole, so I will go even more detail on that game in the next video that's coming up. Really quickly on the Grizzlies side, we saw some excellent ball movement, a lot of sharing, a lot of passing. Obviously, Ja Morant is just an insane player, but also has just been playing MVP level basketball at this point, making great passes and just doing these crazy shots that they're unbelievable. And then obviously Jarrett Jackson Jr. went off in the second game against them and was just shooting threes from all over the place and playing incredibly. And then in terms of the Nuggets, they're like one of the best rated defenses in the league right now, and I don't know if I'm just not seeing something, but the games that I've seen of the Nuggets, and especially this one, their defense is just not there. But Nikola is so good, and it pisses me off that he doesn't have more help. Like MPJ, really, I don't know what's going on with him. Somebody please intervene. But Will Barton did have a good game, which was excellent for him and kept them in the conversation, but also, I don't remember which game he went off on, but his role is not to have those kinds of games every night. He's very much a role player, and he's very, very good at being a role player, and so there just needs to be something from Michael Porter Jr. specifically, and I don't know how to fix it. I'm not a coach. For some reason, that's the only game I watched on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we had the Heat at the Mavs, which is a game that I was very much looking forward to because, as we know, the Heat are my favorite team, but also I'm a huge Luka Doncic fan. And it was just, Tyler Hero is amazing. He's so good. And his offense is diversifying is something that I've noticed, and I think that's probably Kyle Lowry, well, his own personal development, but also Kyle Lowry's influence of he's not just a scorer anymore, he's also getting better at knowing when to pass, and his defense is all right, so he's definitely improving a lot as a player. The Dallas Mavericks have way too many big men to not be going up for second chance rebounds and second chance points. There were many moments where the Heat were out hustling the Dallas Mavericks for rebounds, and it didn't make sense because they're not a small team by any stretch of the imagination. So that's ultimately what lost in the game. Then, as we know, I'm a big-time Jason Kidd hater, and his rotations just continue to confuse me. I'm not really sure what the Mavericks schemes are. I know Luka's assists are way down, but also I think he's scoring less. And so I'm not really sure what he wants Luka's role to be. It just kind of feels like you have a group of very competent players, but there's something missing. There's not enough communication. I don't know what it is. Because at the end of the day, I think Luka could have won this game. Not the Mavericks. I think Luka could have won the Mavericks this game if he was put in a situation where he could have been more offensively successful. But he wasn't, and too many other players not named Luka Doncic were taking shots. I don't think they played horribly. They lost by not an embarrassing amount, so what can I say? But the Heat played very well. The defense was incredible. I really enjoyed watching this game. And then apparently that's the only game I watched on Tuesday. So I think that was kind of a boring slate, if I remember correctly. So I only watched the Heat Mavericks game. But on Wednesday, I watched the Portland Trailblazers get absolutely embarrassed by the Cavaliers. And obviously Dame is in a shooting slump right now. I'll talk about the Lakers game in a bit. So it seems like he's coming out of it, but he's in a shooting slump. But also, it's not just that, because the Cavs defense was absolutely spectacular. Not just on Dame, on everybody. There was a Jared Allen block on Dame, or there was an Evan Mobley block on Dame. I don't even remember. I'm just scared of the Cavs. I don't know how long this win streak is going to last, because it is still very early in the season and they are a young group that is not necessarily expected to do much, but I do think that they could also surprise us a lot and end up coming out of the East in the playoffs, or, being in the play-in, but they're doing so well right now. Let me read you this box score. So they have Mobley with 11 and 11, so a double-double for Mobley as a rookie. Jared Allen, 24, 17, and 4. Then we have Garland with 19, 2, and 10, and then Sexton with 21, 3, and 2. And those are just 4 really young players who all individually did very successfully, but also play so well together. And that was a concern because of the height, was like, maybe do they have too much size? But Jared Allen and Mobley fit very well together. I don't think those 2 players should be separated. And they also didn't have Lauri Markkanen or K-Love, so they were running a really short rotation. I think it was like 8. And then another thing that I really liked about this Cavaliers team is the role of Ricky Rubio. He's like a Chris Paul kind of point guard, where he's just kind of like the level-headed veteran who is able to kind of galvanize players and, keep everything calm and cool, even in kind of stressful moments. So it's like not really impact that we're seeing in like his box score, but it's his effect on this team is very much felt. And the Cavs also had 6 players in double figures, which I think they had like an 8 or 9 man rotation. So that's much more than half of their players in double figures. So just excellent team basketball, good ball movement, good defense, and not bad offense either. And on the Trailblazers side of things, I mean, other than Dame being in a shooting slump, we knew that the cast that they built around Dame was not necessarily a good one. We know that CJ is a really good player, but the CJ and Dame duo has extreme limitations, and those are glaringly obvious when Dame is not playing so well. Dame seems to be getting back to the rhythm of things, and maybe Chauncey Billups is still adjusting as a coach, so we could see them be a playoff team this year, but I'm still very concerned about them. Okay, next game I saw was the Mavericks at the Spurs, and Kenny Beecham said this, and the Spurs have had some of the most entertaining losses of the season, and another way to say that is I think even when they lose, a lot of the times, they're the team that's playing better basketball. It just comes down to like missing free throws or just like a late game breakdown, but throughout like 90% of the game, the Spurs are the superior team. And this was more than true in this game. Even without Jakob Poeltl, they were giving the Mavericks a full run for their money, and this is why. Coaching, adjustments, mentality, and I think that's something that's through a through line with Pop's teams, is that there's this kind of like, he has this level-headedness about him, and obviously we've seen him like kind of go nuts on the bench, but he has this kind of level-headed authority about him that I think he, preaches to his players. And so even when they're down, or they just know how to play together in a nice rhythm that they don't really lose. And even though they have these breakdowns towards the end, I think that's definitely a youth thing, and it's like a thing. It's like, okay, you've got these young guys that are making not so great decisions down the stretch, but overall are playing solid basketball in a good rhythm and communicating and working really well as a team. You have DeJounte Murray playing incredibly good basketball right now, and then you have Devin Vassell making a good impact off the bench. And once again, they didn't even have Jakob Poeltl, so Thaddeus Young was at playing center, and then they put Boban in, and so he scored a bunch of points because there was literally nobody that could even remotely possibly guard him. So I guess like Jason Kidd made one good coaching decision so far. And I mean, Luka's obviously incredible, but something that I was surprised to see is Jalen Brunson doing the majority of the offensive, having the majority of the offensive responsibilities towards the end of the fourth. I think he is incredible. I think they need to trade everybody on this roster except for Luka, Jalen Brunson, and Tim Hardaway Jr. Everybody needs to go. Their bench is not good. They don't really seem to like know what they're doing per se, and they also need a better coach. I mean, I'm just going to say this every single time I talk about the Mavericks. The coaching is bad, the rotations are bad, and every time they win, it's just a coincidence of like their players just happening to have a really good game and not actually it being planned to turn out that way. The next game I watched was the Celtics at the Heat, and that's a game that I deeply, deeply don't want to talk about, so I'm not really going to do it other than, I mean, it was an ugly game. It was not a good game for the Celtics. I don't know what happened. I was just having flashbacks to last season with the Heat. There was just like a complete lack of communication. There wasn't enough ball movement. Some of the decisions that were made when it came to passing, even by Kyle Lowry, who like is normally very good at making decisions when it comes to passing, were just bad. Shots weren't going in. We were making questionable shot selections. And it was just kind of a matter of which team is playing the least worst. And that team was the Celtics. So good for them, I guess. Then Lakers at OKC, I didn't really watch, but I just have a few comments. I watched the end of it, so I don't really watch a lot of it. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he keeps me up at night. I literally just stay up at night shaking, wide awake, thinking about how talented Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is and what he's going to look like with an actual like good cast of characters around him. Because I don't think the league is ready. I don't think the league could be ready. Man, Russ, what's going on, man? I mean, he took that shot like it was going in. And like you could tell in his body language, or at least I feel like I could tell in his body language that he felt that shot was going to go in. But I think everyone knew it wasn't. I mean, the second I saw him square up to take that shot, I was like, no way in hell that goes in. Oh, and then I didn't really also watch any games on Friday. Had a really busy day, and then I kind of watched a bit of Bucks Knicks, but I didn't really pay enough attention to say anything about it other than like, wow, that was really embarrassing for the Bucks. If only you had PJ Tucker, then maybe it wouldn't happen, but you don't, so. And then I have a lot to say about Saturday's game, so let's start with Jazz at Heat. I mean, I want a 7-game series of this. I mean, I heard it going around that it was like, this is like a championship preview, but I mean, both teams, lockdown defense, stellar offense, just going back and forth, like really toughing it out, and just beautiful basketball with 100% effort at both ends from both teams, which is something that has been rare to see so far in the season. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is so fast. Not just like he moves very quickly, but also is a very fast thinker. So it's nearly impossible to guard him. It is just it's insane. Like I was talking about PJ Tucker earlier. PJ Tucker is a player that knows his role just incredibly well. And that's something that you don't really appreciate until he's on your team, where it's like, yeah, he knows that his role is defense and shooting corner threes. And he's not going to do anything else than that. He's going to focus on doing those things very well. And that is just so valuable to any team, but specifically to this Heat team. Duncan is still in a weird slump. People are kind of freaking out about it. I say leave it alone. We're winning games without him shooting like crazy. I think he's just, getting used to the new system that's more defensively oriented. But once he gets into his rhythm, I think it's definitely going to come back. I think, it happens to all players. They get in slumps. Like I said earlier, Hero is not only growing into a much better scorer, but also like a good facilitator. And I'm noticing that there's like kind of this interesting 2-man game when Lowry and Hero are on the floor, where they're like, I don't know, maybe they're in like, there's like a symbiotic kind of guard relationship there that I really like to watch. I mean, it's just nice to go against another team that is as defensively oriented as the Heat, and also as well, arguably as well coached as the Heat. It was just, fantastic basketball to watch. It was anybody's game at the end of the day. And I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I want to see more of this. Oh, Rockets at Nuggets, which was actually before. Nuggets have to stop taking threes. They take too many threes for a team that is not that great at rebounding. So if you know that you're in a shooting slump and your whole team is just not shooting well, you either need to take it to the paint and stop passing up open looks, like open layups and for 3-pointers. And also, if you do take threes, have people around the rim to catch the rebound so you don't get so you can get second chance points, right? I was surprised by the Houston Rockets defense. I thought it was like pretty well, especially considering their team is so young and that decision making isn't necessarily their strong suit as young players, but they put up a really good fight. Some great scorers on their team. Jayshawn Tate was definitely the star of the game. There was just some incredibly poor decision making on like PJ Dozier's part, where he was taking like risky long passes to like another role player instead of doing the like safer short pass to Jokic. And who are these people? Like, I just look at the Nuggets bench and I'm like, who are any of these people? And I think MPJ had to leave early in the game. But anyway, Nikola comes through, saving all of us with the game-saving block, and we have to count our lucky stars that he was born, because this team would be in a dumpster. Literally, their locker room would be a dumpster if it wasn't for Nikola Jokic. Next, we have the 76ers at Bulls, which I only kind of watched the fourth quarter of, but I really liked what I saw. I mean, I haven't been watching a lot of Bulls basketball because I think their first few scheduled games were kind of against not great teams, and then I've been watching a lot of Sixers basketball because I was like, oh, they're probably just not going to be that good because Ben Simmons is out and doesn't really seem to want to play, so I'm just going to like wait a bit until I start seriously judging 76ers basketball. But they looked really good, and I don't know if Korkmaz has been playing like this the whole time that they've been playing, or this is just like a new development, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching, I think, Korkmaz's shooting combined with Seth Curry's shooting and Joel Embiid's dominance. I mean, really great game. Great offense, another game of great offense and like solid defense coming from both sides. I have to say, I much more enjoyed watching the Bulls and the Sixers, even though I was kind of rooting for the Sixers to win and I'm a huge Joel Embiid fan. I don't know, something about the communication of that team is really surprising because they're mostly new pieces, but there was this one play that I really remember that I just had to like watch over and over again, which was like DeMar drives into the paint, drawing some of the defenders away from Caruso, finds Caruso open, passes the ball to Caruso. Caruso shoots the three. It misses, but before it even touches the rim, Lonzo's going to catch the rebound in case it doesn't miss. It doesn't go in. Joel Embiid is there, does not catch the rebound. Lonzo jumps, taps the ball back to DeRozan, who takes a mid-range, and it goes in. And I was like, wow, that was just like beautiful, like ping, 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 basketball. Just almost did these people telepathically communicate this? I mean, just incredible team basketball, just great decision making from Lonzo. Just the whole team is making really good decisions. Oh, Derrick Jones Jr. is on this team now, and I think the Portland Trailblazers could honestly use somebody like Derrick Jones Jr. Not bad offensively, but like really solid at defense, and he could help them out, give them some more energy, some more life, especially when Dame is in a slump. But now the Bulls have him, and he makes them an even stronger and deeper team, and definitely played his role tonight really well. Something that I noticed with the Sixers in the fourth quarter, like I said, didn't really watch a ton of the first 3 quarters of the game, but I feel like they get slower in the fourth quarter. They get tired. Their transition defense like really falters during this period, so they could use an energy guy like a Bobby Portis type figure to kind of just push them along in the fourth quarter when they're kind of falling behind, or maybe even some sort of like a Ricky Rubio glue guy, like level-headed dude that like keeps them in check when things are kind of falling out of their hands. Because we've seen this team choke fourth quarter leads and like, or nearly choke fourth quarter leads too many times. And I just think there needs to be an addition made of either like an energy guy or a glue guy in the fourth quarter who can get the team together, either keep them moving and keep them hustling, or calm everybody down. Because I think once shot stops falling, the team kind of freaks out and is not able to hold on to leads as well. But overall, I thought this was it's a very enjoyable game to watch. I really like the versatility that each Bulls player provides. I like the patience. And I also like that the Sixers are still very much in it and very much, hustling away, even though they don't have Simmons. This team is missing one piece, just one thing, like a ball handler, like more of a facilitator type player, and Ben Simmons is not that. And he doesn't want to be there. So they should just trade him right away, try to get that guy on a team and be even better. So those are all my thoughts on this week in basketball. I didn't get to watch a ton of basketball this week, or at least as much as I want to watch. I'm hoping to catch some more games this week. Also, I didn't take as many notes as I would have wanted, so a lot of my thoughts are just kind of like distant memories, if you will. But the next video that I'm uploading should be a full court focus on the Memphis Grizzlies, and then next week you will be here for another recap and also catch my last video on the Robert Sarver situation with the Suns. Don't know what else to say. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and be good.